Alrighty. Pursuant to the open meeting laws, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such a recording or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible.
Opening Conservation Commission Monday.
Welcome to the Fall River Conservation Commission meeting held at the public hearing on Monday the 9th, 2019 at 5:30, first floor hearing room, One Government Center, Fall River, Mass. In order to hear the following petitions. Can I have roll call?
Walter Emerald.
Andrew Lewis.
Roll call.
Brad.
Yep, roll call. Just say your name.
James Hornsby.
Okay. And we also have with
Your name.
John Brandt, Chairman. We have Patty Aguiar with Ed William Roth and Fall River TV government, Gary Light. First on the agenda, could I have a motion to move item 14?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. 14 is a request for determination of accessibility filed by Wright Pierce on behalf of applicant Paul Fairland, City of Fall River Department of Community Utilities regarding project located at 994 Jefferson Street, Assessors Map D-20-19, to install an erosion control barrier, loom removal, installation of precast concrete valve vault, flow meter vault, bypass connection, control building, and SCAD, communication, security fencing, lighting, intrusion alarms, driveway paving, ditch and catch basin, water quality swale, looming, seating, and site restoration. File number RDA 166.
And the kitchen sink?
I want to get the whole project in there. As you know, Azan always easy as other projects. Thank you very much. For the record, Paul Fairland, Deputy Administrator of Community Utilities, City of Fall River. Today we are here in front of you. We are working on design to replace the south end sewer pump station. This pump station is within the 994 Jefferson Street complex, right off of the side of Jefferson Street before you get to Spectrum Lighting, right in the area where the cleaning company used to be, right after you cross over Sucker Brook. Currently we have a pump station there. It is a deep wet well with a dry pit on the side of it for the pumps. There is also a motor. There's also a small structure there that houses all of our electrical connections, and then a external generator and diesel tank. Actually, excuse me, the generator now is internal, and then there's an external diesel tank on site. That's over here on the board. If you'll see, currently we have where these black spots are. This is the above ground, this is the below ground pit. These were constructed in the 1960s, well overdue for replacement. We'll be moving forward with replacement of this station. We'll be doing a 14 by 32 above ground building that will house our generator, all of our electrical controls for the new pump station, as well as a bathroom as required by code. We'll also have a large underground wet well pit that will house our grinder pumps, a shallower valve vault, which will be able to be used for our check valves, and then a smaller metering pit. So this station takes a fair majority of the south end of the city, all the Wood Street area, that whole entire next to the cemetery, and then it all feeds down into this area, including the complex. Where we run into a problem, you know, why we're in front of the Conservation Commission, right over here we have Sucker Brook. So Sucker Brook feeds from Stafford Pond into the South Watuppa Pond. We're within the riverfront and the bank of Sucker Brook. Our property doesn't directly, where the pump station is, doesn't directly abut the Sucker Brook, but it is within the buffer zone. Just as a layout, this will be the area of the new building that's going in place. This will be the wet well area. This is the valve vault. The sewer currently comes in down this area over here and goes into the well here. It'll be diverted into this new wet well. We have a force main that comes out of the pump station and goes and ties in up next to Jefferson Street after it passes over Route 24. Through the whole entire project, we'll have a standard erosion control in place for any erosion from our site. Any dewatering, which it is expected that we'll have to do dewatering on the site. Ledges 12 to 15 feet below grade based on the borings that we've done on site so far. So we'll have to dewater to be able to get down to that point, and then while we're in the
What
ledge.
does dewater mean?
What dewater means to take so once we dig a hole, if we just left that hole, it would fill up with water.
Got it.
We have to put pumps in there to be able to pump
Got
it out.
Thank you.
Through the project, we're planning that we're putting in the bid that the contractor will have a frac tank on site. So that's a large tank that allows any of the heavier solids or rocks or anything that gets pumped out be able to settle out and then into a stilling basin and filter before it is discharged onto the street. Heads towards the south Watuppa Pond, goes through a water quality swale that was constructed by the water department 2 years ago, and then travels into Sucker Brook in the south Watuppa. For the final restoration of the site, we are planning a water quality swale towards the south end of the site, so we're not planning with our grading to shed any water directly into Sucker Brook, which is to the north. We're planning on grading it so it goes to the south towards the roadway. Prior to it getting to that roadway, we're going to have a water quality swale on the edge of the road, as well as an infiltrating catch basin. Anything that overtops that catch basin will then go onto the roadway, head to the east into the water quality swale that was constructed by the water department a couple of years ago, be treated into Sucker Brook, then into South Watuppa Pond. This project is necessary for maintenance of a sewer system. So, is any questions that the board has?
Any questions?
Staff's reviewed this with engineering and planning. We have no concerns with it. We're recommending a negative determination with conditions, and the condition is that the erosion control needs to be installed prior to construction and during construction. So your standard erosion control. That is what our recommendation is.
Okay. So can I have a motion?
So moved.
I didn't make it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I have a motion for a negative determination with erosion control before and during construction?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second his. Okay, same thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm used to dealing with the superintendent of schools. It would say that. My apologies.
That's okay. All right, next, notice of intent filed by Farland Corp. on behalf of applicant TM Crawley and Associates, owners of RKG Realty Trust regarding project located at 64 Stevens Street, Assessors Map E-27-4, to construct a 4,384 square foot convenience store with 5 dual-sided fuel dispensers, an attached 2,640 square foot 2-bay drive-through car wash, voluminous concrete paved parking area containing 25 parking spaces, associated grading, stormwater management, file number SE-24-728. This was tabled from August 5th, 2019 meeting.
Good evening, John Marchand from Farland Corp. When we were here first in August, we had submitted our plans simultaneously with site plan review. We had not received any comments at that point from the city regarding the project. Since that time, we've received comments from the city. Most of the comments pertain to traffic, utilities. In speaking with the city engineer regarding the stormwater, his major concern was the volume of fuel containment prior to infiltration, discharge to the infiltration basin. So that's something that we're working through with him, trying to demonstrate that the volume that we're providing is adequate. So we've submitted some letters to him and some information, and we're waiting to hear back from that. But that's, as far as the stormwater portion of the project, that was the major comment from the city.
And planning, did they have anything?
Yeah, well, we had a site plan review. I've met with the city engineer and we've discussed the issues, and we've actually talked with the engineer. The city engineer is, they have conceptually talked about some potential revisions in the site plan for the engineering. The city engineer is recommending, he is comfortable with where they've gone, and he would recommend if approving it with couple conditions. One is condition that they let's see, approval with conditions that the final engineering approved through site plan review is one. Two is that they clean out some of the trash from the wetlands that are existing now. And number three, standard erosion controls be placed prior and during construction. So those would be the three conditions. And I can repeat those. Engineering approval through site plan review, clean out the trash. If you've been out there, there's been some dumping of different material and debris, and I think a TV and a whole mess of things.
Yeah, I would say a lot of our site is not actually in the wetland, but whatever we would be able to clean up.
Adjacent,
Right.
yes, clean the trash from the wetland, adjacent wetland, and the and standard erosion controls. So with that, that would be the recommendation for approval with those three conditions.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions before we? All right.
Yeah, I have one question.
Sure.
Is this on the same lot? I had a little trouble finding it today.
The
Is this where there used to be a bank?
Yes.
drive-through facility.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought, okay. I'm just, because I walked around it, and,
Yep.
but it was, do get the trash.
All right. Can I have a motion for approval with the following three things included? Final site planning be reviewed before it starts. 2, clean up the trash in the wetlands. And 3, standard erosion control during and during construction.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Vote. We should vote.
Oh. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Now we're reading.
Okay. Next one is notice of intent filed by Field Engineering Company, Inc. on behalf of owner applicant Hutchins Holding 2 LLC regarding projects located at 0 Current Street, Assessors Map Z-03-21, constructed parking area within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands, file number SC-24-729, table from August 5th.
Did he have cards?
That was from last one, because it was tabled.
Oh, that's right.
The newspaper, cut sheet, and more cards. Yeah, good evening, Rich Riccio from Field Engineering, on behalf of Hutchins Holdings. We were here last month, but we hadn't properly advertised the hearing, so we really didn't were able to discuss the project. This is a proposed parking lot adjacent to the Raw Seafoods and Ice Cube building on 481 and 421 Current Road. It's at the corner of Current and Sykes Road. The purpose of the proposed parking area, it's a truck parking lot and overflow vehicular parking. Right now, a lot of the trucks that are going to the Ice Cube facility are queuing along Current Road, and they're trying to have them have a parking lot to queue in, alleviate some of that on the road. The parking area will flow
I'll go over to the board to one of two detention areas that are going to serve as infiltration basins through a double sump catch basin and a sediment forebay prior to overtopping to this wetland area, which actually discharges into the existing drainage system servicing the industrial park. A good portion of this, the water that gets creates this wetland impoundment area here, is coming from the roofs from the adjacent building that runs across the lot. We're proposing to intercept that with the crushed stone edge drain here through a piping system to a swale around our proposed parking. We have erosion controls shown on the site at the limits of work. We've been able to eliminate any proposed work within the wetland. In an earlier version, we were doing some wetland filling, but the plan before you has no wetland fill required. We do have a small section of retaining wall here. It's only about a couple feet high in this area here to maintain all the work outside the wetland. We did submit site plan review for site plan approval with the planning department. I don't believe there was any major concerns or comments on that through discussions with Mr. Roth today. And we're looking for an order of conditions on the project this evening. We do have a DEP file number with no comments as well.
Engineering and the site plan review committee has reviewed it, where engineering, community utilities, and planning are all fine and have reviewed the proposal and the engineering and stormwater for it, and it meets DEP standards. So we're recommending approval with the standard erosion control conditions, that erosion control be installed prior and during construction. With that, we're recommending approval with this standard condition. And then the site plan review will be approved shortly thereafter once conservation's been approved.
Okay. Can I have a motion for approval with standard erosion control before and during work and standard order of conditions?
So move.
I'll second that.
Can I have a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote passes.
Thank you.
Oh. Forgot something.
Next one is notice of intent filed by SciTech Inc. on behalf of owner, applicant, contractors, landing regarding projects located at Griffin Street and Evelyn's Way / Ash Street, Assessors Map G-27-14, to construct a commercial building with associated parking, grading, and utilities. A portion of the work will fall within the 100-foot buffer zone, the previously delineated bordering vegetated wetlands. The projects also include alteration of 700 square feet of BVW, file number SE-24-727. This was tabled from July 8th.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Dan Aguirre, the Senior Project Manager at SciTech Engineering with addresses here in the city. As the chairman stated, we were in probably a month and a half ago, regarding this notice of intent for a commercial building at the intersection of Evelyn's Way and the paper street known as Griffin Street. And at that last hearing, we had asked that you allow us to table the matter so that we could look at a couple of different types of engineering proposals of what we could do on the property to incorporate some comments that we received from you, from some of the neighbors as well, and try and come up with something that would work better for that parcel rather than that commercial building. That process required that we go back to the planning board. I think we had this discussion a little bit, back to the planning board so that they could make a determination that what we were proposing was now substantially less detrimental or was different enough from what the reasons they first denied it for. So we've gotten through that process. It took 2 attempts to get through there. So what we're going to be doing is revising the plans, submitting them back to you, And it will change this project from that commercial development to 5 single-family homes, so shrinking the project dramatically. No wetlands alteration, probably 30 or 40 feet further upgrading from the wetland than what we were now. Full engineering we haven't done yet. This was just done Thursday at the planning board meeting. So we would ask that you allow us to table for another month so that we can get some plans revised back into the commission. We do also have to go back before the zoning board of appeals for their approval as well, but we're going to try and run them, the 2 of them concurrently, to try and save some time. So I think 1 month would be sufficient for us to get something back to the commission within the next week or 2 and give the city ample time to review that before the next meeting.
Is that October 9th? October 7th.
So can I have a motion to table this to October 7th meeting?
Could I just ask a
Oh, sure,
couple
go ahead.
questions? One is you're moving back from where the dirt, there's a bank there with a almost covered fence of plastic barrier going down the hill.
I don't know what specific spot you're talking about.
Right at the edge.
Right now, you mean, when you go out there,
Yeah.
is there a silt fence out there now?
Yeah, there's a
Okay,
silt fence.
okay.
Could you do something so less silt flows down in the next couple months before you get going?
Yeah, that silt fence, I believe, was put in place prior to this owner, so I don't even know if there is one installed there, or if it's even installed
Well,
correctly.
it's just
But I'll
that
make
the
sure
dirt
the owner
is,
takes a
the
look
sand
at
is
it
flooded down and it's
fixes it.
overthrown.
Absolutely, yeah.
A
I'll
second set of questions, and I forgot to ask the last person, but I'm really sorry to ask these kinds of questions, but has anyone approached you, any elected or public official, appointed you for money or any payment outside of
Mr. Hornsby,
this?
I don't want to go there. Okay?
Well, I do.
I don't want to go. Our commission is solely independent. We're appointed by the mayor, but we vote as a board, and that is not in our purview. And
Well, I
I
think it
it
is.
pulls us into something I don't want to get pulled into.
Reverend Hornsby, if you have any questions with relation to the Wetlands Protection Act, I'd be more than glad to answer them.
Okay. And you don't wish to answer the other question I asked?
It's beyond the purview of this board, or beyond the purview of what I'm here to present.
You think it's beyond the purview?
I
Yes.
do. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, I will take your word for it. And with that, I think we can stop commenting.
Okay. That's good. So can I get a motion to table this
I'll take that.
until October 7th?
I'll second the motion.
Vote?
Yeah.
Aye.
Approved?
Thank you very much.
Alrighty, next one is notice of intent filed by SciTech Inc. on behalf of owner applicant CML2 LLC regarding projects located at 507 Alden Street, Assessors Map J-21-01 and 05. Restore a mill building into apartments with associated site work including parking, grading, drainage, utilities, landscaping, related improvements. Portions of the site work are located within a 100-foot buffer zone to the bordering vegetated wetlands, file number SE-24.
Good evening again. For the record, Dan Aguirre of SciTech Engineering. Also joined this evening by Jeff Kuchar, who is one of the principals in the SciTech Environmental Office up in the Marshfield area. As the chairman stated, we're here this evening regarding the property located at 507 Alden Street. It's an existing commercial building now. If you were to drive by, you would see they have a paved portion of the site in this location, this commercial structure as well. Directly to the south of this would be the Cornell Mill Complex that had just been restored. I think you're all somewhat familiar with that. What's the name that it goes under? Is it Cornell Mills?
Cornell
Oh,
Mills.
oh.
I think it's,
Cornell.
no, it's not
As an
knitting.
operator, I'm not sure what the
No,
name of it.
but they did a beautiful job on it. That was also done by the same applicant with the same engineering firm. They did a great job. So in the process of working in this area, they came across this building and would like to do a similar project here as well. So any of the incidentals with regards to the building, although not germane to the Wetlands Protection Act. I think Jeff can answer anything about the specific project itself. But as you see on the plan before you, shaded in this dark green area to the rear is a bordering vegetated wetland that actually comes all the way up to Alden. This red line would be a bordering vegetated wetland line that we have established in the field, basically almost comes right up to the building on this southerly end of the building. The back of the building is a cleared area. There is a fence currently installed basically right at the wetland edge. Was used for commercial activity, trucks loading, and it's not a paved area by any means, but it's a gravelled area that they clearly use for commercial purposes. So what we're here today for is the proposed work within the 100-foot buffer zone to that bordering vegetated wetland. So we would be adding a couple landscape islands to the front of the building, restriping that parking facility, and then extending, right now the parking facility ends about here, to the rear of this building, creating this rear parking lot, and then installing and constructing this rather large rain garden, which is a stormwater management tool that we use. It's a low-impact development tool where you have a couple of feet of this very well-defined processed material. It's in lieu of installing just an open detention pond. You get a little bit better water quality out of it, and it helps us meet a lot of the drainage requirements that we need to for doing work within 100 feet to a wetland. And we'll be installing, again, some additional green space around that parking area as well. We do have to go through the site plan review process, which we understand. But that's basically it. We have submitted detailed calculations with regards to stormwater runoff, showing that we've reduced the amount of runoff making its way to that bordering vegetated wetland. There's a detailed operation and maintenance plan. Everything that we would need drainage calculation-wise to support the project. If you have any specific questions, it's rather straightforward. But if you have anything either that myself or Jeff could answer, we'd be more than glad to do so.
Very straightforward.
Well, I didn't know if any of the members had any questions. The city staff, myself, and the city engineer have met with the applicant and sat down and looked at it. We think that this is environmentally as a big improvement on the big gravel and parking area with the chain link fence all the way up, and renovating a vacant mill, and would be an attractive project and an environmental benefit. We're recommending approval, subject to erosion control to be installed prior and during construction, and site plan review for the detailed engineering. So those would be the two conditions.
Okay. So can I have a motion for approval with one, erosion control before and during construction, and a site plan for detail?
I'll make that motion. I'll second that motion.
Vote.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. It looks nice. It looks
Yeah,
big
it'll be in a big
improvement. Big improvement.
Next is notice of intent filed by SciTech Inc. on behalf of owner applicant Highland Farms Development LLC regarding projects located at 101 Hayfield Lane, Assessors Map U-1-39, to construct a single-family dwelling, associated grading and utilities with a 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. All work falls within the approved limits of work previous approved during subdivision permitting. File number SC-24-738.
Mr. Chairman, for the sake of ease, and it's up to you, do you want to open all of these, because they're all identical, and one presentation of all of them? It might be quicker for everybody involved.
I
or we
think
can just do
that
them
would be a
one at a
good
time.
idea.
That's fine.
Joint?
I'm here with that.
Good. I was going to recommend it because they're all very similar.
Yeah.
I don't want
If
to mix this up for Patty. so
anyone
you know
has
what?
trouble seeing, would like to look at this, I'll pass it along. This-
No, we got it right here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because it's much clearer than the,
Okay.
Just do one of
than the
these.
Yeah.
mound of paper.
Green cards and add. So take
It
the
was up
green
there
one.
today.
If you want to do them one by one.
but it stays here.
Yeah.
Three.
Is that yours?
These are mine, yes.
Can we do it after the meeting?
Yeah, if you're fine with that, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, that'd be great. In fact, do you want to read them all in, or just read the lot numbers?
Do you want me to read them?
I don't think you have to read them entirely, but if you just read in,
Just the lot numbers?
yeah, I guess the lot numbers, you can open up
Okay.
items number.
All right, so
Whatever.
these are the included projects. We're gonna, 81 Hayfield Lane, Assessors Map U-1-40. 61 Hayfield Lane, Assessors Map U-1-41. Hayfield Lane 41, Assessors Map U-1-42. 21 Hayfield Lane, Assessors Map U-1-43. 15 Hayfield Lane, Assessors Map U-1-44. And,
8 steeper.
okay, 8 Steep Brook Terrace, Assessors Map U-1-57. And, 8 Old Pasture Way, Assessors Map U-1-50. And 7 Old Pasture Way, Assessors Map U-1-49.
Great. Again, for the record, Dan Aguirre of SciTech Engineering, here this evening on behalf of Highland Farms Development for the single-family home construction in what is the Highland Farm subdivision. You've seen a number of these lots before you. Because we were getting towards the end of the building season, the applicant asked us to put together a bunch of them to get them out of the way rather than be piecemealing them as we go along. So I'm going to start with the furthest north lot, which would be parcel 21, which is 101 Hayfield Lane. On this, we're going to be looking at this entire stretch of homes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, these 6. So starting to the very far east, we have a bordering vegetated wetland limit that you see shaded in darker green. This exterior dashed red line that you see in this location is the approved limit of work under the previous order of conditions for the subdivision itself. That allowed for these lots to be filled in their rough condition, the construction of this stormwater management system. That's all been permitted, that's all been constructed to date. So everything that you see today is up gradient from that work. So what we have proposed is a single-family home on each one of these lots at the minimum setback possible to the street so that we're as far away from the wetland as possible. We have proposed walkouts basements or partial walkout basements in the rear of every one of these homes to minimize the amount of fill in the 100-foot buffer zone. Roof drain drywall systems have been proposed on each of the lots, and those will go through site plan review in accordance with the subdivision approval. So all of the roof runoff is collected and discharged into the ground. Where you see this new red line in the front, that would be new erosion control barrier that we're proposing to keep the constructed pond in good condition. So that silt off of these construction sites won't wash into the newly constructed pond that now has some grass growth and is functioning well. So we have this wetland being protected by the original erosion control fence, and we'll now have this new erosion control fence in place to protect the pond itself. So these are all fairly generic. They're all almost entirely within the 100-foot buffer zone. As we continue westerly in the subdivision, there is a cul-de-sac here known as Old Pasture Way. So parcel 11, which is number 7 Old Pasture Way, you'll see, again, this is the bordering vegetated wetland that is closest to us here. We have this detention pond that's been constructed previously, and the home that we're proposing is up gradient of that. New erosion control being proposed as well, and roof drain dry wells for that house as well. Continuing further west, we're going to go right from this lot to this very next lot.
What's the,
So we were here just now.
excuse me, I'm having trouble with the noise. Is it,
Oh, see.
It's the HVAC system.
oh,
Can you have
okay.
me, I can bring it closer and do it up there if it makes it better.
No, I just that,
You want to bring it closer?
no, I could hear, it was just irritating. I didn't
Yeah.
know what it was.
Yeah. Well,
We don't
Dan-
have an audience to worry about, so we can get a little bit closer.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I have this,
So we were just on this house here. This is that cul-de-sac known as Old Pasture Way. Similarly to the last one, we have a bordering vegetated wetland system shown in this dark red, a constructed detention pond that was part of the original subdivision, a new hay bale and silt fence line located here. The proposed dwelling, again, as close to the street as possible. Roof drain dry wells located here and here as well. And then moving further west, we get to the end of this little cul-de-sac called Steeplechase Terrace, Steep Brook Terrace. Same thing, bordering vegetated wetland, previously approved limit of work, drainage swale that's been constructed, detention pond that's already been constructed here, and the proposed home is up gradient from that with roof drain dry wells as well. So they're all identical. We're working within limits of already approved areas that are altered as part of the subdivision construction. And if you guys take another quick look at it, by all means do. So in most cases, we have a detention pond recently constructed behind these proposed homes. This back location of this one, this is an actual swale, so there's no ponding of water, but that's to be constructed that way. And then again, on the last ones, this is a quick over again.
Only one doesn't have a pond.
Well, two. This outside one,
Yep.
Well, it has a small one here, but this lot has
Yep.
no pond at all. The rest of them all basically all have ponds behind. If you have any specific questions, I'd be more than glad to answer.
And most of them have what, to the drainage?
It's calculated by roof area, so it's basically, if I remember correctly, it's 2 chambers per 1,000 square feet of homes. So you'll see the smaller homes, for instance, actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chambers. This is the larger house that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chambers.
That
So
would mean it had 8,000 square feet? No.
No. It's like all 2 chambers, I believe. Actually, you know what? Hold on. I'll tell you. I believe it's on.
You have the
plan.
calcs on your
Yeah,
plan.
on the full plan.
Because they look like the site plan review plan.
So we have, 4 chambers per 1,000 square feet of roof area. So yeah, so this is about a 2,000 square foot footprint. That's why there's 8
And the
chambers.
total lots are about how big?
12,000 square feet.
That's what they look like.
That's the zoning for that area. So they're basically 120 by 100. Some of the lots are a little bit larger, but that's the minimum lot size is 12,000 square feet.
And when I was by today, and I don't quite know how to describe it, but what it was described as a drainage area.
Okay.
And it was totally dry.
Yes, it's supposed to be. They're only supposed to be water in them when it's raining. And actually, by regulation, within so many hours, they should drain down to only have maybe like 2 or 3 inches left in the bottom. So what happens is that volume is to be left empty. So when it rains, the water goes into that area, it gets held. Now, if you look at each one of those ponds, you're gonna see a concrete box.
Okay.
On that box has different size holes.
Yep.
Those holes let out water slowly to mimic what the water did before you added pavement and everything else. So it's a balancing act. You have to hold water back to allow it out at the same rate that it went before you added houses and pavement. So it's a detention pond, so it's holding water back for a certain amount of time to mimic, so that you're not adding a bunch of water all at once into a wetland or into a down gradient above. You have to, so all of the construction,
Yeah, that's
you guys
helpful.
don't
Thank
see it
you.
when you see the individual lots, but when you see the whole thing, you're like, oh my God, they spent all that money building that pond, but that's for a reason. And when we review the subdivision, which some of you were on the board at that time, you look at those bigger calculations and the planning board does as well. So they would rather not spend the money building them, but they have to. In order to make the engineering work, you do need some type of pond.
So you don't create flash
Flooding.
flooding
Right,
to your neighbor.
correct.
The requirement under the state law is that you have to release the same, no greater amount of water than the site releases now. So if it released 100 gallons, then you have to design it that when it rains, it releases 100 gallons, but it will release 100 very slowly and
Right.
keep on doing that until it's done.
Any questions from the board?
Now, this engineering's reviewed it, we're fine with it, it's an approved subdivision. Standard condition is erosion control prior and during construction. Site plan review is actually required on every single lot. And the only other special condition I would request is that a sign be placed at the back at intervals, and I can work with the thing, on each lot. I have they sent me a draft, and I've replied to them, that it says that this is a conservation area subject to Mass General Law 131, Chapter 131, Section 40. No dumping of grass clippings or yard debris, and then it's sort of per order of the Fall River Conservation Commission. So it's going to be a 12-inch by 9-inch sign that will be on a post, and we're going to be putting those at behind all of them. And actually, we're going to put them behind the ones with the ponds, because we don't want our detention pond full of grass clippings either.
No television either.
So, yeah, no televisions. Those are hard. So we would recommend approval of items, notice of intent on our agenda number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, as identified on our agenda, as stated by the chairman. For all of them would be erosion controls prior and during construction, and the conservation sign detailing that it's a conservation area.
Do we have to put in the site plan?
Nope, site plan review is already mandatory.
Sounds good. Alrighty. Can I get an approval for items 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13?
5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. With approval for erosion control prior and during construction, and that we put out the standard sign that we're going to have wetland section.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Vote?
Aye.
Great.
Passes.
Thank you very much. Pat, you want to do those now? You guys done? Or no?
Give us a couple minutes to finish the meeting.
Okay. Next on the agenda is notification from Bristol County Mosquito Control Projects, submitted August 2nd, 2019, regarding ditch maintenance along the north side of Current Road. This to be placed on file.
Yep, they're doing their standard mitigation for maintenance for cleaning the ditch.
Can I have approval of minutes from August 5th, 2019 meeting?
Motion to place on file.
Oh, motion to place on file?
Make that motion. I'll second that motion.
Second vote.
So moved, yes.
16, approval of minutes August 5th, 2019.
Just a motion. At some point, I'd like to ask a question about just number 1. The delineation thing on the rest of the land that St. Vincent's has.
Okay, the delineation was approved.
Oh, last month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was the delineation. Our consultant that we hired reviewed the line and approved it, and made a note. There was one change.
You wanted us to add the riverfront?
Oh, yes, add the riverfront line on it, and that's all. And they changed the plan and added the riverfront line. So that's approved. So they have 3 years to come in to propose a development, and that's the set line. So that's what was approved.
Fine, thank you.
So can we have a motion to approve the minutes from August 5th, 2019?
I'll make that motion.
Second. Vote?
And you abstain, right?
Abstain.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Anybody here for public input? Nope. Patty, did we take a vote on the items 14?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
That's the one we did
Negative
first.
determination.
Okay. Sounds good. Just want to make sure.
Yep.
Alrighty. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion. I'll second that.
Meeting adjourned?